we're not going to do the polish and crease. We're going to go back to what I was doing originally, which was moving all of these things up. So I'm going to go open the subtool, select one of these just by, you can alt tap and then hold down shift, do the bent arrow, and I'm just going to shoot these to the top because I don't feel like going through here and trying to wrangle where they are. And we'll go ahead and do his face too. So what I'm going to do is basically merge all these things together, Dynamesh them, smooth them out a little bit, and then we're going to slice and ZRemesh that way to make sure everything's really nice and cartoony, kind of like his backpack is. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've shot everything to the top, and I know that these top 4 ones that I've shot to the top are all going to be merged down together. It's going to go to merge down and hit, you can hit OK or always OK, and then I won't ask you that again. So just keep hitting merge down until you basically have his body, his face, and just all these pieces together now merged. Now they do still have Dynamesh on with group on, so of course if I Dynamesh, it's going to keep these things separate. I don't want that, so I'm going to turn groups off. The resolution, let's just try it, 128. Now sometimes this will happen where it almost goes internally. Still wants to do it. You can sometimes drop your resolution just a bit. We'll go to 64. Yeah, it really wants to do that. It might be because this head is back there and it's doing something weird. It's not really that big a deal, so let's go back up to 128. And then we'll just smooth. Now, by default, you're probably going to have smooth enabled. I usually have smooth stronger. We talked about this already. Just go to hit comma, go to your brushes, go to your smooth, and then just do smooth stronger, and then it'll smooth stronger if you need to. Just really kind of obliterate those shapes. Alternatively, you could also hit Control W, and that makes it all one polygroup. And now when we go to deformation, polish by features, turn that to open circle, and you can really just polish the heck out of your meshes. Now you're going to notice it kind of did some severe polishing on the ears and on the sleeves and stuff. One kind of way around that is you can go ahead and you can slice these surfaces, but you can also just try and do a visibility. So temporarily get rid of them. Let's see if this works. And now we'll do a polish by features. And if you just tap it, it'll do really small increments. You can kind of just smooth it out that way, bring everything else back. And now we got a little bit of a more controlled result. So now I can go in here and I can hold down shift and bring that Z intensity down. If it's smooth stronger, it's a little too strong. We can alleviate some of that. So now we're just back to our basic shape here, and it doesn't have to be super clean because we're going to ZRemesh and make it super clean. I'm going to go out of solo mode, make sure everything's looking nice, like so. And we kind of lost where we need to slice them up, but that's okay. I can bring back my reference image here. And I stopped and restarted, so I do have to bring that back in. That's basically just a texture. Import, grab the image. It's going to throw it in here, select it, add it to Spotlight, and then hit Z. And then, like I said, I could have saved this movie timeline out that we had, or I could actually go also, another alternative is under Document. You can go to ZapLink Properties, and you can just hit, for example, if I line this up, I think we talked about this too, we can hit Front, and then if you just hit Front, it'll go back. You can do that as well. But for now, I'm just going to just do a really quick front view here, line him up real quick, down the middle-ish, turn on RGB, and then just really quickly just paint half of them. There we go. So we kind of vaguely know where the cut lines are going to go. I'm going to go into solo mode here. White is selected, RGB intensity, turn it down. Color fill, turn texture off. Then do color fill, just fill it with that white. There we go. We got a pretty good idea of where that cut line needs to go. Move this up just a tad. Standard brush, and we'll go into lazy radius here. Crank that up. And then we'll just go around the back here and then make this a little bit of a straighter line. Okay, so now I know exactly where my cuts need to be. So now that you got a nice smooth shape, you need to decide if you want to go ahead and slice it now and then ZRemesh, or ZRemesh first and then slice it. So what I'm going to do, hold on Control Shift, we're going to grab the slice curve. I'm just going to slice the very bottom of his arms to give it basically its own polygroup, like so. And then the bottom of his legs here. And if you don't want it to slice all the way through your object, you can mask it and then slice. So I'm going to turn off X because slice only works on one side. We'll have to mirror and weld it. But it is probably going to draw a line through. No, it actually didn't. Okay, so yeah, use mask, and that way it won't slice through your object. You can also use visibility if it's giving you a really hard time. And I just want to grab just that very bottom there. And then I'll slice the bottom of his legs. Now here I don't need to mask because it's not going to actually grab too much. There we go. So now when I ZRemesh this guy, and we'll go ahead and turn his poly paint off, you can see we have a poly group here and here, so I need to go ahead and do a quick mirror across the X and then mirror and weld across the X. We have both of these sides sliced. And now when I ZRemesh, I can tell it, and I can also use those ZRemesh guides I was talking about, the BZ remesh guides in your brushes. But for now I'm just going to go to Geometry, ZRemesher, turn on Keep Groups, target polygon count, we'll drop that to like 2 maybe, the adaptive size down to 0, hit ZRemesh, and we'll see what this gives us. There we go. Now of course I forgot to turn X back on, so hit X, that'll make it symmetrical, and we'll see if we get a little bit better result down the middle. Much better result down the middle. Now if you ever do get a result down the middle you don't like, on this guy it's going to be pretty good because he's such a simple shape, but if you have like a face in there with a mouth bag, you can also hold down Alt and hit ZRemesh with X symmetry turned on, and it'll actually give you a different algorithm down the middle, so you get a different result slightly down the geometry, down the middle of your object. So if I go out of solo mode here, we can now see what our guy is going to look like. And you know what? Actually, what I'm going to do is just go in here, line him up, and instead of painting on his detail, I'm just going to use Slice here. So I'm going to go to the side, kind of match him up, and now I can hold down Control Shift, do the slice brush. You know what? Let's hit Z and move this over a little bit. Hit Z again, and now from the side, I know that it's just going to basically go. Let's turn up the opacity here. It's just going to go above his shoulder, so I can just kind of eyeball that. I think we'll just put a slice right in here. Now you can grab one of these lines and try and straighten it out, but it's probably easier just to go ahead and just slice that, and then ZRemesh with groups on. And we also need to slice where his pants are going to go, and his pants just go around his waist and over his butt here. So I'm just going to do that manually. And of course you can hit Alt to give you a curved path. You can hit Alt twice to give you a spike path. So I'm going to hit Alt once and just kind of do a curve like so. So we've got his head, we've got his pants, and we haven't sliced his face out yet. One way we can do that, hit Shift Z, move this guy back into place here. And we can use Slice Circle to do this. I'm going to kind of position it, and I'm going to kind of rotate him so his head is positioned nicely. And if I do a slice, it's going to go all the way through the object. So hit Shift Z. I'm going to temporarily go back here with Select Lasso and just get rid of the visibility on this back end, so when it slices, it doesn't slice back through anything. So I'm really only concerned about this front part here. We'll tilt this down a bit, and then we'll hold down Control Shift, go to Slice Circle. Now under Stroke, you want to make sure you don't have Square turned on, because that'll force you to make it a perfect circle. Center we can have on or off. It's kind of up to you where you want to draw your circle out. You can hold down Spacebar to move this around. And we can just go ahead and slice. Hit Shift Z to get rid of that. And now we have all the things sliced up that we like. And at this point, you can go ahead and do a geometry edge loop panel loops and go ahead and try and panel loops it up. But before I do that, let's see how ZRemesh treats this. So I'm going to go ahead and ZRemesh this thing. And we actually have a little ZRemesh thing here we're going to need to clean up. You can go over here to Poly Groups and try and do a Merge Stray Groups right here. And that'll just take little pieces out here and kind of merge them in. Let's go ahead and do a quick mirror and weld across the X, which for you will be under Deformations. I'm sorry, Geometry, Modify Topology, mirror and weld across the X-axis. And you'll see that when I do a Merge Stray Groups, it worked on this side. I could have mirrored it and then mirrored and welded it. But one thing you can also do is hover over a face, hit Spacebar, go to Poly Group, a single poly, select one face, hit Shift to inherit that color, and then just tap, and then you're good to go. So you can kind of just reassign polygroups by painting it on there using ZModeler brush.